Hello and welcome to Granada Reports. We are live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Coming up on the programme this evening.
Why so many survivors of the Manchester Arena terror attack say the system meant to care and compensate them has actually made life worse.
They wanted photographic evidence, which was, considering my injuries from top to toe, I had to ask my solicitor to come into hospital and take pictures of me, which was dehumanising.
When school summer holidays can be more of a trial than a treat, the challenge of childcare for parents with disabled children.
A long way from Wimbledon, but with him all the way. We're live in Liverpool with tennis ace Neil Skupski at the club which launched him to fame.
He's the wonder of crew. Sorry about that. Why Elvis isn't just leaving the building, he's leaving Cheshire for his big moment in Memphis.
And in the weather, nothing says gusty like a windswept dog, or maybe even two of them. It's looking very changeable this week. The full forecast coming up.
So please do stay with us. But first tonight, they are the survivors of the Manchester Arena terror attack who feel let down by the very compensation scheme that was supposed to help them.
The Criminal Injuries Compensation Authority is supposed to financially support victims of violent crime. But more than 100 victims of 11 terrorist incidents felt the scheme was unfair and unreasonable.
Only half of those who applied for compensation after the Manchester Arena bombing have actually received any money. Tonight, Manchester Arena survivor Paul Price, who lost his partner in the attack, says the whole process makes the trauma worse.
He's been speaking to our correspondent, Elaine Wilcox.
Paul Price was just 8 metres away from the Manchester Arena bomber and suffered catastrophic shrapnel wounds all over his body. Waking from a coma, he was then told he'd lost his partner Elaine and the future they'd planned together. Despite the emotional trauma and 50-plus operations, he says for the past 6 years he's been constantly asked to prove he was entitled to compensation.
The whole process is, we don't believe you. You say this has happened, prove it. I felt very much I was on trial. There was no empathy whatsoever. They wanted photographic evidence, which was, considering my injuries from top to toe, I had to ask my solicitor to come into hospital and take pictures of me, which was dehumanising.
Do you think it's set up in such a way to put people off applying?
That's very much it. That's how it comes across.
A survey of those affected by 11 major terrorist incidents, including the Manchester Arena attack, found more than 2/3 felt the compensation scheme was unreasonable and unfair, and 62% didn't feel they were treated with empathy or respect.
It's taken 6 years for you to have compensation. You're not able to work. Is it enough to live on?
Not at all. I mean, the compensation, Elaine and I both had good jobs. The compensation doesn't even cover a year's earning of what we were earning. You know, I'm still really living off savings. The fact is, I'm actually, having to contemplate going back to work because, the money's going to run out.
In 2019, survivors of terror called for change to the broken system, and the government committed to a new survivors' charter to guarantee their mental health and legal support. Now survivors are demanding proof from ministers that they're keeping that promise to give future victims the compensation they deserve. Elaine Wilcox, ITV News, Woolton, Liverpool.
Well, in their statement, the Ministry of Justice says while no amount of compensation could make up for the ordeal suffered by terror victims, it was right they should get the support they need. They said the Criminal Injuries Compensation Scheme had paid out more than £158 million to victims of violent crime in the last year alone.
They added that this included over $4 million for victims of terrorism since 2017, with a dedicated team helping those affected by the Manchester Arena attack. But they said they know more must be done and that the government was reviewing the support it offers to better address victims' needs. Well, moving on now. Next, for many parents, it's tough to find childcare over the summer. But for families who have a child with a disability, it can be even more of a challenge and can sometimes feel more like a crisis than a holiday.
Yeah, fewer than 1 in 5 local councils in England report having enough holiday childcare places for disabled children. Figures from a number of charities show a bleak picture. More than 1 million children live with disabilities in the UK. More than half of parents said they'd had to give up work to look after their disabled children.
80% of parents said that they'd struggled to access childcare during the summer holidays, while families caring for a loved one who's disabled faced extra costs of £583 a month, with that figure likely to rise during the summer.
Well, charities say that the situation means disabled children are most at risk of missing out. This special report from Anna Joseph.
Making the most of the sunshine. Archie's 10 and has Angelman syndrome, a rare genetic condition causing severe physical and learning disabilities. He needs one-to-one care. His behaviour can be challenging and unpredictable.
He's non-verbal, but as you've heard, he can be quite noisy. He has seizures, learning difficulties, mobility issues and sleep issues. Kiss.
Mum Mandy's a paramedic. She works nights as there aren't any before or after school clubs Archie can go to. But it's the summer holidays and lack of accessible childcare that pose the biggest problem.
I always say I go to work for a rest, which people think, how can your job be a rest? But it's my normality away from, looking after a disabled child.
How much of a struggle is childcare?
There isn't any wraparound care. I work mainly nights because of it. So I'm here when he goes to school and I'm here obviously when he comes home, which if I'm on shift doesn't give me much sleep during the day. Again, in the holidays, we struggle. I've got to use all my leave to obviously have somebody here, but again, then I don't have enough leave to cover all the school holidays.
Mandy's husband is self-employed, so if he doesn't work, he doesn't get paid, and there's no family that can help. Why is there such a void when it comes to childcare for children with disabilities?
I think it's down to funding, or they don't have enough people to do, to do the job. But I think funding is a massive issue. Because if we put him into any clubs, we have to pay for the club, but we also have to provide or pay for a one-to-one on top.
You're going to go and play? Because you never sit down. You go in.
Seth's nearly 6. He's non-verbal and severely autistic. His mum Demi fits her job around school hours during term time, but she's dreading the summer holidays.
In terms of special needs holiday clubs, I've been searching for months and months, and there's just nowhere that you can find that will suit his needs because he needs one-to-one care. Once the word SEN's put in there, anything like that, the price just goes right up and parents just can't afford it. Which it's a real shame because it's really quite upsetting because we want our kids to have just the same as everybody else's, but we just don't get that. I want him to be able to have fun and do things that other children do, but he can't.
So does it look like you're going to have to give up your job over the summer?
Yeah.
How is that going to affect your family?
Well, I wouldn't have an income, so I'd just be living off universal credit. I'd have nothing. If I'm not working, I'm going to struggle to pay anything. So I'll be stuck in a limbo where I won't be able to pay anything. So, yeah, I do worry.
This charity in Tameside offers support for families with children who have special needs. Twice a month they hire a play area so families can meet up. They say many parents are being pushed into poverty because they have a disabled child.
The minute they start school, there's no childcare available for children with complex needs, disabilities, SEN. There isn't. Grandparents are expected to work till they're 67, 70 years old. They're not at home anymore to help with childcare. So our families are just giving up their careers. The speech and language therapists, we've got police women, we've got social workers who are just giving up all their careers because they can't find childcare. And then they're plunged into poverty. It's a crisis.
For many families with disabled children, getting through the summer holidays will just be another obstacle they have to face. Anna Joseph, ITV News.
Well, in a statement, the Department for Education said they are working on new schemes to provide respite breaks for families with disabled children. They also said we're rolling out the single biggest investment in childcare in England ever, set to save a working parent using 30 hours of childcare up to an average of £6,500 a year.
On top of this, our holiday, activities and food programme, backed by £200 million per year to 2025, provides healthy meals, enriching activities and free childcare places to children from lower-income families over the holidays.
And there's more information about charities which can offer advice to families who look after children with disabilities. You'll find that on our website at itv.com/Granada. On to more news now, and an investigation has started after the body of a woman in her 40s was found on a footpath in Rochdale. Emergency services were called to Sandbrook Park Shopping Centre at 4:30 this morning after reports of concern for a person's welfare. Police are warning the public to avoid the area as investigations continue.
A light aircraft has crashed in the Isle of Man. Emergency services were called to Bradder Head near Port Erin on the south of the island just after 1 o'clock. People have been urged to avoid the area and a restriction has been put in place to stop drones flying nearby as the search continues.
The Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has praised the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace, who's announced that he won't be standing as an MP at the next election. Mr Wallace is the MP for Wyre and Preston North. He was talked of as a favourite to replace Boris Johnson for the Conservative leadership. He's been the area's MP for 18 years and Defence Secretary since 2019. He's now the 6th Conservative MP from the North West to announce that they're standing down.
Well, next tonight, it seems hard to believe that hundreds of people who have pets are choosing to beat or kick them.
Last year, in Greater Manchester alone, there were 605 reports of people causing intentional harm to animals, and those reports were made to the RSPCA. The charity is now launching the Cancel Out Cruelty campaign as they deal with their busiest week of the year. Jennifer Buck reports.
Hi guys, how's he doing?
Doing good.
Hey Polly.
Ryan King is an RSPCA inspector who works across Greater Manchester collecting and caring for animals who have been abandoned, abused or neglected. Polly, the British bulldog, is now thriving after being dumped with another dog.
He appeared in quite a bad way. He was really underweight and he'd obviously been kind of neglected for some time. He was also dumped with another dog, which we believe are linked. We've named them Rolly and Polly here at the hospital because they've been with us for a little while now. Polly's doing really well. He's put on quite a bit of weight. But unfortunately, Rolly had quite a few different issues and unfortunately he wasn't able to make it.
One sad story in so many the staff at the RSPCA Greater Manchester Animal Hospital can share. This is their busiest week. The summer months provide extra challenges of warm weather and longer days. Add in the pressure of the cost of living crisis and impact of COVID, it's the perfect storm. Shannon is one of the vets who is increasingly treating animals who have been kicked, punched or stamped on.
It's very distressing, to be honest. I've worked with the RSPCA for 4 years and the amount of non-accidental injury and beating cases has arisen tenfold in that time easily. Unfortunately, during COVID, we saw a lot of increases. I think people were sort of locked in, stuck with their animals all the time, very frustrated because of external pressures as well as having to look after their animal.
And what kind of pressure is this putting on the RSPCA?
This is putting a lot of pressure on us. Our animal centres are all full. There's waiting lists of over 700 animals currently. So we're now using private boarding facilities, but now we're relying on them more and more, and our private boarding bills this month have been £26,000.
In Greater Manchester, there has been a 9% increase in intentional harm to animals. Now the RSPCA has launched its Cancel Out Cruelty campaign.
This is Forrest. He was brought in here last month. Now, both of his front legs had been broken. The RSPCA believe broken deliberately, and he was dumped after being rolled up in some carpet.
This rehoming centre is full. even though the animals are doing their best to convince prospective owners. Jennifer Buck, ITV News in Manchester.
How could anybody do that? It's just incredible. I want to take them all home.
Yeah.
Even those cats, those big eyes, they're just desperate for new homes.
Yeah.
If you do want to rehome one of those animals, please contact the RSPCA rather than Granada Reports. OK, let's take a look now at what's coming up on the ITV News at 6:30 with Charlene.
Coming up, groundbreaking results for Alzheimer's patients. Trial results for a new drug showed that it slows disease symptom progression by more than a third, offering hope to millions of families. Southern Europe sweats in the latest heat wave, with people warned to stay indoors. Sir Elton John gives evidence as a defence witness in Kevin Spacey's sexual assault trial. And Lionel Messi swaps his navy shirt for a pink one, the superstar signing making soccer history in America. So join us, those stories and more from 6:30.
Well, staying with sport, and it's the start of a massive week in sport here in the region, and we begin by celebrating a huge success over the weekend. Hello, Mike.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, this week we have the small matter of an Ashes Test at Old Trafford and the Open Golf Championship in Hoylake. But there is only one place to start tonight, and it is with this man, Neil Skupski. Over the weekend, the Liverpudlian won his third Wimbledon title, clinching the men's doubles crown with his partner Wesley Koolhof. And we can now hear from the man himself. He's back home on Merseyside, where it all began at Palmerston Tennis Club, and Chris Hall is with him. Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Not just the men's doubles champion, he's also won the mixed doubles the 2 years prior to that, and he's got the trophies here to prove it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Neil Skupski. I know you're cringing because you're such a humble man, but what does it mean to you to be able to bring this trophy back to your club?
Yeah, it's very special. I won the mixed doubles the last 2 years, and to pick up the men's doubles this year at Wimbledon, it's a dream come true. It's something that I never really thought would happen. But yeah, playing with Wesley the last 18 months, it's been a great ride. We won 7 titles last year, short of a Grand Slam. Only reached the quarterfinals of the French and the Australian Open this year, but to get over the line at Wimbledon this year is extra special, and it's a dream come true.
It was down to you to serve out that final game. Tell us about that responsibility and what a relief it must have been to have won.
Yeah, my heart was coming out my chest, I think, at the change of ends. But I kind of went back to the mixed doubles event of last year. I had to serve it out with Desiree. It was the same side of the court as well. It had the box just behind me on the right, where all my team was and my family. So I was looking to them for support after every point. And yeah, I was very lucky to kind of come through without losing a point.
And for those who don't know at home, your brother Ken is also your coach, and he'd prior booked a holiday, hadn't he, to Ibiza, but came back from it after like one day. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for him. He had booked a holiday. He had it during COVID. He'd pushed it back to a date where he thought Wimbledon wasn't on, but for Wimbledon they changed the date for the first time in probably 20 years. That was a tough conversation for him to have with me a few months ago. Yeah, but I was well prepared for it. Yeah, he went after the semi-final he drove back to Liverpool and got the flight from Manchester to Ibiza. He was there for probably 16 hours. Flew back to London, stayed in a Gatwick hotel pod for probably 3 hours, and then yeah, he was back, taking my clothes out my locker, putting some Wimbledon whites on, and then yeah, it was a great day in the end.
Well, you made it worth his while at least, so he's gone back on holiday and he can enjoy that with his family. We saw great scenes here at this club at the weekend. They love you so much. Tell us what this club means to you, because they set you off on this journey.
Yeah, it's very special. I mean, I'm in the WhatsApp group with every club member, and it's seeing the videos and the pictures from the club when I was at the match point and getting over the line. It was incredible. It was quite emotional, really. But yeah, I've played here all my life since I was able to pick up a racket when I was about 3 years old. Starting off with especially my dad and my brother, and then coming around and playing with a few of the members, probably annoying them at some times. But yeah, it was very special, and to see these all here today supporting me, it's very emotional.
Neil, you have made so many great statistics here. You are the first Brit in 100 years to have won the mixed doubles and the men's doubles, the first Brit since the 30s to have won 3 back-to-back Wimbledon titles. But we have another bit of history for you here, because George from the club here, come in George, he has named a drink in your honour. What's it called?
The Skupski Slammer.
The Skupski Slammer. I don't know whether he's going to drink it. We were going to put it in the trophy, but I believe it would burn through the metal. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it once again for your champion, Neil Skupski.
Amazing stuff, Chris. Skupski slammers all round, I think. Well done to Neil. Well, next to some big cricket news. England have recalled James Anderson for the 4th Ashes Test at his home ground, Old Trafford. The 40-year-old Lancashire legend, England's all-time leading wicket-taker, of course, returns to the team in place of Ollie Robinson. It's the only change to the side that defeated Australia at Headingley in the 3rd Test. England are 2-1 down in the series, so this is another must-win game. In football, Manchester United are closing in on the signing of Inter Milan goalkeeper Andre Onana. The deal is believed to be worth around £50 million and will see the Cameroon international replace David De Gea, who left United earlier this month. Could Harry Maguire also be departing? He's been linked with West Ham after revealing he's been stripped of the United captaincy. One man definitely staying is Marcus Rashford, who's reportedly close to signing a new 5-year contract.
Now, when it comes to Elvis tribute acts, well, we've probably all seen one or two in our time, and it's fair to say that some are a lot better than others. Imagine, though, how good you have to be to compete with the very best of the best.
Yeah, Elvis isn't just leaving the building, he's leaving the region and heading for the USA next month. This Elvis is Paul Larkham from Cheshire. He's through to the semi-final of the annual Elvis Tribute Artist Contest in Memphis, of course.
But as Paul Crone reports, his hopes of winning greatness in Graceland have been hampered by a scare over his health.
On fire and ready to take on the best Elvis tribute performers on the planet. Paul Larkham from Cheshire doing what he does best before he heads to Graceland next month to compete in the ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist Contest. He's through to the semi-finals and hopes to make the grand final.
You know, I'm 52 now. It's 2023. It's probably my last shot at doing this, really, you know, over in Memphis. So I thought, yeah, I'm in it again. It's fantastic news, and I'm going to go and give it my best shot.
Your kiss to me is worth a fortune. Your love for me is everything.
But for the past 18 months, Paul has been treated for melanoma skin cancer below his left eye. Several operations later, and the last sample of tissue removed was clear from cancer.
I've had some big chunks removed now from my eye. You know, one of them was like the size of a 2p piece from my lower eyelid. And they've reconstructed it, but I've had 6 operations on it since in the last 18 months, and it's not been pleasant. But you know, I think I'm cancer free now.
So, as Paul put the finishing touches to his act at the Sugar Lounge in Nantwich this morning, he heads to the home of the King of Rock and Roll with a very different frame of mind about the competition.
I sort of go in it with the attitude I've got nothing to lose because I'm happy with my life anyway, so anything else is a bonus.
As ever, we wish the Wonder of Crewe, as he's known, the best of luck. Elvis has left the building.
Left my phone. Thank you very much.
Paul Croner, ITV News, Nantwich.
Yeah,
the Wonder of Crewe. I love that.
Very best of luck
It's
to
great.
Paul. Yeah, here's Emma.
Mom, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada Weather.
Hello there, hope you've had a good Monday and that you're enjoying your evening. Well, we've had some quite lively weather over the weekend and a few thunderstorms rattling around today as well, and sunny spells and showers are always going to be part of the forecast over the next few days. Still quite breezy but not as windy as it was over the weekend. Persistent rain expected tomorrow, and actually this weekend looks very similar to the one that's just gone. Could be very unsettled again, all rather changeable, and by night actually feeling quite cool. So we head into the early hours, high pressure just briefly builds in before this low pressure system gets to grips with us tomorrow, and there could be some quite hefty rain over parts of Cumbria. Heavy rain there making for tricky driving conditions, a lot of spray on the roads, and then showers follow behind that, but as I say, turning very unsettled from the northwest again on Saturday. Rewinding though to the next few hours, we're heading towards quite a decent couple of hours there, maybe some late sunshine on the cars, but through the early hours of the morning, everything clouding up from the west there. The temperatures look quite decent there, but actually it's going to feel a little bit on the cool side as this cloud and rain starts in across the Isle of Man and then slowly trudges eastwards. Fairly lightish winds at this point until the system comes in. Sun's up tomorrow at 5:03, sets at 9:30, and we see this rain marching in quite sharpish. As I say, it could be quite heavy and persistent in places, especially through parts of Cumbria. The wind starts to get up through the Irish Sea as well, gusts of 30, 35 miles an hour, and miserable looking temperatures too. You can see really below par for the time of year. All that does clear away though later on Tuesday, makes way for some heavier showers around on Wednesday, but also still with some sunny spells and fewer showers likely on Thursday. Best sun in the morning and evenings. Bye-bye.
Cleaned up well.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thanks, Emma, and well done to Willow the cat from Liverpool. She helped to save the life of her owner who has diabetes, and Willow could win a national award later.
She raised alarm when her owner lost consciousness, and she's nominated in the Moggy Marvels category of the National Cat Awards tonight.
Don't ask me how, but I think Willow's going to win big.
She'll get there by whiskers.
I'm leaving the building now.
Terrible. Bye.